Everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. This is Power Play, and we're joined as always by Chris Uminski. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
Doing quite well. Excited to talk a little bit about the beginning of the NHL season. Before we started, we talked a little bit about how we got some new networks in the mix. What are your thoughts off the bat from what you've seen so far?
You already know the way I felt about the
Mm-hmm.
NBC broadcasts. I've said it
Yes.
before, and I'll say it again, and I'll die on this hill. Pierre Maguire is the second worst play-by-play guy in North American sports. I think the only one who's worse in my book is Joe Buck. Um,
All right. We could probably count them
um,
out as ever being guests on this network then.
um, like the NBC broadcasts were always kind of dull. Like I feel like the analysts and the play-by-play guys never really had a rapport with each other, so it's just kind of like listening to them talk.
Mm.
But ESPN, though, like we were all a little nervous going into it because ESPN's hockey coverage in the past hasn't been fantastic.
Mm.
But the first game, Tampa versus Pittsburgh, they kind of a great group of analysts, some great play-by-play guys. One of them who's calling the Tampa game uh, was Ray Ferraro, who's one of my favorite analysts, probably
Mm.
one of the best in hockey world. And then Sean McDonough, who, for all of you Boston people out there, you'll recognize him from WEEI. So
Yeah,
he,
so
he's
big
moving
deal
up.
for
He's
him.
moving up in the world.
Mm. Yeah, no, that was
Um,
crazy
so,
when you told me that he was on ESPN. I was like, damn, get a local guy rising the
well,
ranks. That's what you want to see.
I'm listening to the game, and I'm like, this guy kind of sounds familiar. He sounds like he's from Boston. So do a quick little Google search. I'm like, oh my God, it's Sean McDonough.
Oh man, that's awesome. So good for Sean. We're all rooting for you. Keep it up. So
Yes,
yeah, I mean, we started off the season with the Kraken and Golden Knights, correct?
yes.
And how was that game? What do you think about the Kraken's their first game ever?
I mean, they looked a little rough, but I attribute that a lot to the fact that they were playing the Golden Knights, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it was very unfair of the NHL to put a brand new team, never played a regular season game before, against one of the best teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
I think the
so
idea was like,
Vegas won.
oh, we got our two expansion teams, but it's like, yes, but Vegas isn't a normal expansion team. They're quite good.
Right.
So what was the final score
Uh,
of that one?
the final score, it ended up being, I think it ended up pretty close in the end. The final score was 4-3 Vegas.
All
So
right, so hey.
Seattle tried to make a comeback in the
Mhm.
third period. So that was pretty. Jeremy Lauzon from the Bruins is already showing that he is going to be a playmaker for that team.
Mhm.
In the first period, he made his presence known. The first two goals of the NHL season, or the first goal for each game, was each scored by a former Bruin. Ryan Donato, who's a former Bruin and from Hingham, Massachusetts,
Mhm.
scored the first Kraken goal in history.
Very cool.
So that was kind of
Represent.
exciting. It was a nasty goal too. So that was a lot of fun. Really, like the thing I noticed from that night was there was a big Massachusetts presence in both games that I watched. Danton
Mhm.
Heinen got the first goal in the Penguins Lightning game. Obviously, Sean McDonough. We just talked about him,
Mhm.
and um, yeah. So a lot of Massachusetts guys and Bruins guys were making impacts. The Kraken looked pretty good. I'm excited to watch more of their games. I always like to pick a Western Conference team to kind
Mhm.
of root for on the side, and I
Right.
think this year it's going to end up being Seattle
Yep.
for me.
Yeah, you got to have the backup. I mean, for NFL, like I've always been very partial to the Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald's one of my favorite players, so they're like my NFC team to fall back on when the Dolphins are doing bad, which is a lot in fairness, but also in fairness, the Cardinals are pretty bad a lot too. So, it's just misery on both ends usually, though not this season.
Yeah.
So hopefully the
I
Kraken.
thought it was funny when you texted me the other day and you're like, "Hey, can you talk about hockey this week? I need to stop talking about the Dolphins."
Yeah, I need to stop talking about them. I need to stop thinking about them. It's bad. It's real bad. But
I feel for you, man. I'm a Patriots fan.
yeah. So all right. Other than that, anything else from these first few games stand out for you?
Yeah, Tampa looked rough. Tampa looked really rough in that first
They
game.
got a Stanley Cup
We
hangover.
talked about the championship hangover, but man, the Penguins are a great team. There's no denying that, but they didn't have Sidney Crosby. They didn't have their best player.
Mm-hmm.
And they kicked Tampa's ass. So that was kind of sad. And then, Jesus, last night I watched the Blackhawks play, and a big thing with them is they got a new goalie, Marc-Andre Fleury, who they got from Vegas. And he was the Vezina Trophy winner, the best goalie a couple years ago. And my God, like just the circumstances of him going to Chicago were bad enough because they traded him, and he found out he was traded on Twitter.
Oh, that's not great. Not
Yeah,
good
that's
optics.
that's mad disrespect right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets to Chicago, which is they're an okay team.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely not the greatest team, but they're nowhere near the worst. I think he's gonna rot there. He played like absolute shit last night.
Right.
He 4 goals in the first period, and they I don't think they ever took him out. So it was really rough looking at him. I feel bad for him. He's gonna rot in Chicago. It was just rough.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, obviously. But anything else from the first few games you wanna mention?
Well, I guess I just want to say again, ESPN did a pretty good job. The best broadcast I've seen so far is the TNT broadcast.
Oh, all right.
ESPN did this, man. Like the group of analysts and play-by-play guys they got, it's relaxed. They're not trying to over-explain things to you. Like I feel like NBC did that, which was like I don't want to watch a game and feel stupid while I'm watching it.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, guys like Joe Buck just like saying what's on the screen as if I don't already know what's happening. So that was pretty good. Wayne Gretzky made a little appearance in that broadcast, so that was kind of cool. Everyone loves the great one. Yeah, so overall, I think the hockey watching experience has vastly upgraded, even with just the small sample size that we have.
Right. Hey, that's good to hear. I'm glad that like hockey fans are going to have a good broadcast to watch rather than being like, I love the sport, but this is rough to watch how it's presented.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to a more serious topic, I guess, we have, I guess mental health's kind of been at the forefront of sports of late, which I think is good. I think it's a positive thing. People should be talking about it. And we have a story like that for the NHL, right?
Yeah. Carey Price, we talked about Carey Price before on this show. How he's an elite goalie in the league. He carries Montreal. He announced somebody through him, it might have actually been his wife, put out a statement that he is taking a leave of absence from the league. He's not playing for Montreal. And he has entered the NHLPA and NHL It's a mental health assistance program that he's put himself in. They make themselves available to players for any number of issues they might have. And Carey Price has sort of hinted in the last few months that there was something going on with him mentally. Even just like when he made himself available to Seattle, it kind of made people, raise some eyebrows. Like, is he not happy in Montreal? Is he maybe looking for a change of scenery? I don't know fully what's going on. Nobody knows why he's entered into this program. But it'll be at least a 30-day absence for him from Montreal. And, we're all just glad that if he needs help, we're all glad that he's getting it. The NHL is great for making this available to the players. The only real negative that I see is for the Montreal Canadiens.
Of course, yeah. Unfortunate for them. But
it's very bad timing because they also just lost one of their top defensemen, Sebastian Aho.
So it's going to be a little rough for them trying to follow up on their mostly successful season, right? Like they were in the championship, so like that's pretty great.
Yeah.
But like you said, happy that there's an avenue for him to get some assistance going on here.
Or no, I'm sorry, I said Sebastian. I get them confused sometimes.
Oh, it's all right. That's all right.
So it's an uphill battle for Montreal right now, even coming off their Stanley Cup appearance.
Yeah,
it's going to be rough for them defensively.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But anything else you want to add before we get on out of here?
Nope. I guess so. Saturday is Bruins puck drop. They're playing the Dallas Stars. I'm wicked excited for that game. I'm excited to see how the goalies are going to look. Looks like Jeremy Swayman is going to get the start. So I'm excited to see him play. I'm excited to see how Nick Foligno plays with us. How Taylor Hall is going to do again this year too. They looked pretty good in the preseason, but the preseason is the preseason.
Of course.
So it'll be cool to see them play in a game that matters. And I'm looking very forward to that.
Yeah, no, me too. Stick right here. If you like this talk, you'll like our Bruins coverage. I mean, if you look at Chris's screen right now, you can tell. Pretty big Bruins fan, and we do focus mostly on the Bruins. If for some reason this is your first time checking out the channel, we'll be covering the Bruins very in-depth this season, and I'm looking forward to that. Chris, anything else you want to add?
Nope. All I got to say is hockey's back. It's exciting. Go.
All right, and Chris, where can they find you online?
So the best place for me is on Twitter, Chris_Uminski, always throwing in my Superfire hockey takes. And yeah, just all kinds of hockey talk. If you like Maple Leafs losing memes, I'm your guy.
Yes, very true. I can attest to that.
Yes.
Oh, man. All right, so follow Chris there. You can follow me on Twitter at TheFakeBMarr. That's BMARR. Channels on Twitter at WickedGoodSport or at WGEverything. Instagram, WickedEverything. Twitch, twitch.tv/WickedEverything. And hopefully soon at WickedGoodSports on there as well. Got some stuff going on for there. This has been Power Play. Almost butchered it. This has been Power Play. And Chris, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And we will see you all in the next one.